Hello and welcome, a very, very warm welcome to the Green Bean. My name is Katie and it's mushroom season. This is a celebratory episode where I get to share all of the products and projects that I've been working on so hard for all of this year coming to fruition, arriving in my studio as new products, things that I can share with the world, and I am so excited to share them with you. Over the last few months, you've watched me create these paintings, and now they're here as stickers, as prints, as new washi tape designs. You've watched me knit these socks. I've also knitted a matching hat, and now they're here as pattern booklets, so I get to put the patterns for these projects out into the world. There were also so many projects in the background that I didn't manage to show them all to you. I have enamel pins, I have new notebooks, and I have project bags which are going to house kits for the fairy ring hat and fairy ring socks. I've been working so hard getting things ready to go into my shop. All of the prints need to be signed and numbered and safely put in their bags, packaged, ready for the post. The stickers also need to go into protective paper bags, although I have not been able to resist keeping a few of these aside for myself. I've steadily been sticking mushrooms and cute frogs on basically everything I can get my hands on around the house. And I've been assembling kits. So these kits are mostly going off to Daughter of a Shepherd, who will be adding her beautiful Drover sock yarn to turn them into fairy ring sock kits, or to John Urban Textiles, who will be adding their gorgeous yarns to turn them into hat kits. I will be keeping some of them aside from my shop, so you can buy them without the yarn if you want to use something from your stash or choose a yarn of your own, or you've got something left over. For example, if you've made a fairy ring cardigan, you might find you have enough yarn left over already to make a hat. So I will have some of the kits without yarn available in my shop as well. Also, I'm really excited to be stocking some of Maria from Forest Charms' beautiful stitch markers and progress keepers. You might be familiar with Maria from her Knitting in the Dark podcast. She also makes the most beautiful knitting notions with really carefully chosen semi-precious beads, and her attention to detail is always exquisite. I love the pieces of hers that I've got in my collection, but being on the other side of the Atlantic, for us here in the UK, Maria's products are hard to get your hands on. Her shop updates sell out very quickly, and I know that the cost of international shipping is prohibitive for a lot of people. So I'm really excited to have a few of Maria's pieces in my shop for this update. I've been putting them together in some carefully chosen gift bundles. I think they complement some of my new autumnal products and pieces really nicely. So I've been having a lot of fun putting Maria's stitch markers together in gift bundles with some of my new goodies. Let's talk more about the knitting patterns, because that is really what is at the centre of this mushroom excitement. So briefly, in case you haven't seen it before, I'm wearing my own design, the Fairy Ring cardigan, which I published last year. I used yarns from John Arbon Textiles, a selection of different bases. It's their Zwopler's DK, red and white knit by numbers for the mushrooms, and a little bit of Appledore for the green. And when I designed this cardigan, I had the idea in mind that I really wanted there to be matching socks, but I couldn't find the perfect sock yarn. I wanted something that was really deliciously woolly and cozy, but the colours needed to be right. I needed the colours to match this cardigan, and thankfully lovely Rachel of Daughter of a Shepherd brought out her new sock yarn, which is called Drover, earlier this year, and the colours are completely perfect. I was able to basically replicate the design from the cardigan into socks, and I'm so pleased with how these came out. These socks are knitted from the top down in the round. You can either use the magic loop technique or double pointed needles, whatever is your personal preference. Obviously there's stranded colourwork throughout the sock, but the most involved stranded colourwork is at the beginning for the mushrooms. I often get asked whether this Fairy Ring project and now the socks and hat are suitable for beginners to colourwork. And the answer is not ideally, because some of the rounds when you're working the mushrooms need you to manage 3 colours at once. Normally when you're doing stranded colourwork, you only work with 2 colours at a time. So they are a little bit more involved than the most basic stranded colourwork. That said, I am a firm believer in, if there's a project that you really love and really want to make, that is the best way to learn a new technique, because you're more likely to push through and challenge yourself and gain confidence in doing it. If you're working on a project that you're not really excited about, or you don't really want in your wardrobe, just to learn a technique, you're likely to get bored and not finish it. That's my personal experience. So I think if you really love the project and you're willing to suffer the discomfort of a couple of rounds managing 3 colours, once you get past here, it will feel like plain sailing all the way to the toe, because the colourwork on the main body of the sock is very straightforward, easy to memorise. You won't have a problem with that once you've got past the mushrooms. The heel construction is a standard heel flap and gusset. That's my favourite construction, but I placed the decreases for the gusset slightly differently than is standard. They go along here, so if I can pull it off the sock blocker to show you, it creates a slightly different colourwork pattern on the sole of the foot than on the body of the sock. Once you finish the gusset, you knit straight down to the toe, where there is a little bit more stranded colourwork before you finish off with a barn toe. That's my personal favourite toe technique for a sock, because it doesn't involve any grafting, makes for a nice easy finish. The white spots on the mushrooms are created with French knots, which are embroidered after finishing the sock, and the pattern does include a video tutorial for that process, which is made by me. I made it to go with the cardigan last year, but it's exactly the same technique for the socks and the hat as well. These socks are mine, but the pattern, I wanted mushroom socks for people of all ages and all genders, so the pattern covers sizes right from baby mushroom socks up to extra large adult feet. And of course, being socks, it's very easy to customise the length of the leg or the length of the foot to match your exact measurements. And the pattern itself is available in this adorable printed booklet, which I had loads of fun illustrating. It is also available as a digital download if you prefer, and both the print and the digital version include access to a large text version and larger charts should you need them. Should you want to make your mushroom socks to match mine using the recommended yarns, Rachel from Daughter of a Shepherd has got some kits which have mini skeins for the red and the white and the green, so you can make mushroom socks that look just the same as mine, or you could have fun picking some scrap or leftover yarns from your stash. Because this part of the sock isn't going to get a lot of wear and tear, it's possible to choose a yarn that isn't a reinforced or traditional sock yarn for this part of the colourwork. Obviously you need a tough sock yarn for the body of the sock, but you could get a bit more playful and choose scraps of all sorts to make some very interesting coloured mushrooms. I think that would be fun. Moving on to the hat. So the fairy ring hat is, unlike the socks, knitted in DK weight yarn. In fact, the exact same yarn combination as the cardigan. So if you've got leftover yarn from making a cardigan of your own, you might find you have enough to make a hat already. It is knitted in the round. You cast on at the bottom of the brim here, work in 2x2 rib, a bit of stranded colour work. Like the socks, you are going to have to wrangle 3 colours at a time, just on a couple of rounds. But once you've got past that, it's plain sailing, 2 colours at a time colour work, right up to the crown. And obviously the pom-pom is optional, but I personally think a knitted hat isn't complete without a pom-pom. Let me pop it on and model it for you. Now, my personal preference for a knitted hat is a close-fitting beanie like this, but if you prefer a more slouchy fit, the pattern does include instructions for making that adaptation if you want to. Like the socks, the white spots on the mushrooms are done with embroidery. Those are French knots, and like the socks, there's pattern links to the video tutorial I made for doing that process. And there are printed paper patterns too. I love this illustration on the front. I think this is one of my favourite illustrations I've ever done. I'm really, really pleased with how this one came out. So yeah, you can buy the pattern as this printed paper booklet or a digital download, and like the socks, both of those include access to larger text versions and larger charts if you need them. The sizes covered in the pattern are, again, super inclusive. They cover babies right up to extra large adults. So if you want to make matching mushroom hats for the whole family, please go ahead. That would make me extremely, extremely happy. And kits for the fairy ring hat are available from John Urban Textiles. They also produce mini skeins of all of these red, white and green colours, so you can get a kit that covers just the yarns that you need to make your own version of the hat. If I'm honest, and you can probably read it in my face, I am absolutely exhausted. I'm incredibly proud and excited of these new things that I've made, but I hadn't realised until all of the parcels and products started to arrive in my studio quite how many new things I had managed to put together. And in a way, that's been possible because I've been using my creativity to cope with what has been a very difficult year here behind the scenes, both in my personal life and out in the wider world. Things have been tricky out there, and I don't know about you, but I always turn to my creativity, be it my knitting and crafting or my drawing and painting, as a way of coping and surviving the difficult times. And I certainly feel like the arrival of this copious volume of new things that I've made is a celebration and a testament of surviving a difficult year. But also I find this moment in time really hard when things come together that you've been working on for a long time. Yes, it's a celebration and I'm proud of them, but I also have sadness and loss at this time because it's an ending. It's the end of a big project I've been working on for a long time. But there's also another ending going on here behind the scenes. If you follow me on Patreon or social media, you'll probably already know that in the background here, I'm packing up to move house. So the end of this project is tied up with the end of my time in this studio and the end of my time in Devon. And I know you're going to be chomping at the bit to know where we're going, but I promise I will share that soon in the next episode. But for now, let's focus on the mushrooms and celebrate all these beautiful projects that I've managed to finish, because I am feeling really proud of it, but it felt dishonest to talk about that without also mentioning the difficult feelings that come along with finishing this project, because I don't know, I don't want to only talk about the good stuff. Sometimes it is hard when you reach the end of a project, but it's possible to feel sad about things and feel happy and delighted and proud of them at the same time. I'm adding prints to my shop for the first time in a while, and the reason I don't do prints very often is because it's difficult to find a printer that I trust to do a good job, but I found somebody new to work with, and the prints they've produced for me from my mushroom artworks are exquisite. The texture of the ink on the paper looks like velvet, and when you look at them next to the original pieces, I'm so pleased with how these prints have come out. And I've done super limited editions. I've just had 100 made each of the mushrooms and moons and the pride of mushrooms. And I thought I would try something experimental with this print release. Let me talk you through it. So I don't sell original artwork very often. And you might think that's because I get emotionally attached to my originals. That is absolutely not the case. I don't sell originals because it's very difficult to price them. Obviously, they're things that I pour a lot of time and love into, so pricing them in at a price that feels good for the work that I put in is very difficult, and that's a price that's not accessible to most people, which I feel very uncomfortable with. So for a long time, I've been trying to come up with a way of offering my originals out into the world in a way that is more financially accessible. And I came up with this idea of something that is sort of like a prize draw or a raffle. So imagine this limited edition of 100 prints, but I actually sell 101, and one person at random, instead of receiving a print, will receive the original artwork. So it's sort of like a raffle in that you pay to take part and you might win the original, but actually everyone who takes part gets a beautiful limited edition signed art print. So I feel like, certainly for me taking part in that process, I feel like I would get something that I was happy with out of it. So I'm going to try it as an experiment with these art prints. If you order them, I'll enter your name in the draw and one of you might win the original artwork instead. We'll see how it goes with these two artworks, and if it's something that folks like, maybe I will do it more often and release prints of my artwork more often next year. I am so proud of everything I've created for this shop update. In a way, I'm slightly in disbelief at how much I've managed to achieve this year, but I'm so pleased with all of it. It's amazing to be putting it out into the world, and I hope that you're going to love these things as much as I've loved making them. I can hardly believe that it's only 4 years since I left my day job to focus on making my artwork and making these videos full time. It feels like it has been a whirlwind, and I'm so incredibly grateful. I think back on myself as a little kid. One of my favourite toys was this pretend post office kit that I had, and I would sit there and stamp all of the letters, and I can't help but think about that when I'm working in my shop, stamping my envelopes, packing my parcels. I feel like I'm really living that little kid's dream every day, and it's amazing. It's amazing to find myself running a shop of my own. The only thing that remains at the end of this celebration video is to say thank you. Thank you so much for all of your support through this year, whether that be watching my videos, liking and sharing them with people, buying items from my shop, supporting me financially on Patreon or Ko-fi. I'm so grateful to every single one of you for being here. Thank you for being part of making my creative work possible. I couldn't do this every day without you, so thank you so much. I hope you love these new things as much as I do. I hope you love knitting from these patterns, and I cannot wait to see the projects that you make with them. Thank you so much for watching, for being here, for spending time with me and Jack out on Dartmoor, for celebrating this mushroom launch with me. I will see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye.